Since 2020 has rolled around the corner, there are so many web series and films getting scheduled and releasing on a consistent basis. Amazon Prime released the 8-episode dark comedy series titled Afsos starring Gulshan Devaiah and Heeba Shah in lead roles, basically the two most impressive aspects of ghost stories. The web series, which is directed by Anubhuti Kashyap, the sister in the Kashyap clan, who has been an assistant director in films like Gangs of Wasseypur and Dev D, has been responsible for all 8 episodes. The web series focuses on the life of Nakul, played by Gulshan Devaiah. Demotivated in a creative rut, an absence of friends and ostracization from the family, and only therapy guiding him in some productive way, it has sadly led Nakul to give up on life. After multiple failed attempts, the man seeks for a permanent and error-free solution from an illegal source called Emergency Exit that provides for multiple ways to assist suicide, as they like to call it at least. This is where Upadhyay comes into the picture, played by Heeba Shah, who is a contract killer known to have a perfect kill streak. The madness that ensues as Nakul has a change of heart and Upadhyay always finishing tasks handed over to her is the premise of Afsos. The web series further sheds light on many aspects such as the futility of life, the inconsequential existence of individuals in a universe so vast, the concept of life, death, and even more so immortality, aspects which I will further elaborate on as the video progresses. So without further ado, here is Tried&Refused Productions talking about the good and bad aspects about Afsos so that you can ultimately decide whether you want to click it on Amazon Prime or not. The good. Style of humor and writing. The most striking quality of the web series, which I am sure you may have inferred from the trailer, is that the series is a dark comedy. It focuses on the concept of death and strays far away from what Indian audiences are used to seeing in films. Death as a concept being treated as something catastrophic in a premise, mostly conveyed through blaring soundtracks and some dramatic sobbing. The closest link that I can think of when it comes to the mood of this web series, it is the kind of humor in films like Blackmail or Kalakandi, where grave issues are being discussed or actions are being carried out, moments which have severe consequences but are points in the premise which are presented as matter of fact. The web series has a brilliant way of integrating music, mostly light-hearted and jovial, whistles and symphonies with the most gruesome acts that are committed in each episode. You immediately understand the ride you are in for, that there is going to be a lot of bloodshed and mayhem for the 8 episodes, and the wheel will keep on turning. What makes the humor in the film extremely effective is its inventive writing by Dibya Chatterjee, Anirban Das Gupta and Saurav Ghosh. No matter how ghastly the act, the series has a method of making you hysterically laugh in sequences. While the elixir of life is being discussed between a man and a sadhu, the latter hands him a chillum and says, "Ye bhi to amrit hai." While the contract killer, Upadhyay, is on a killing spree, the sadhu goes, "Brahman hoke kya kaam karti hai?" While the police are being approached for the case, they find the forces playing Antakshari with the criminals in the Thana. These are just some of the hilarious gems you will find throughout the web series. Screenplay. The brilliance of the web series is that it does not take time to set up. The very first frame of the web series has Nakul on the railway track ready to kill himself, both the time that the train is taking, transitioning to getting a pillow for himself to make you understand the morbid humor that will persist throughout it. The series is a thriller created and designed to provide you a turn of events you would least expect. It has the quality in multiple situations to lead you to believe something, but cleverly the writers have several gotcha moments. Even though it does dwell into the philosophical, which may lead to audiences disconnecting, especially in its latter half, which I will come to later, it still provides for elements of a thriller that are essential, a premise that cannot be deciphered easily. Honestly, its final sequence and conclusion was the last thing I expected. Performances. See, what has happened with the emergence of content on OTT platforms is two things, one bad and one good. The bad part is that it becomes a dumping ground for content that is in the back burners of reputed production companies, and the good is that talented actors, genuinely talented actors, who had no link in the film industry, that were restricted to doing plays and commercials, only having a niche fan base, finally got the opportunity to show off in front of the masses. The series showcases brilliant performances from the most fleshed out characters and even the ones that were inconsequential, except one, which I will come to later. Anjali Patil, an actor that you may remember from Newton as Miss Shloka, Nakul's therapist, does a commendable job with the written material, a character with many traits that slowly unravel as the web series progresses. Similarly, Akash Daiya, who plays a cop frustrated at the incompetence of the police force with the limited screen time, does a great job. Ratnabali Bhattacharya as Maria, who manages the company that aids people to commit suicide, is simply brilliant in this series. She manages to perfectly balance being dramatic and in empty spaces provide comedic gems. There are moments of improvisation where you can clearly tell these veterans are having so much fun playing with the material. The stars of the web series, however, are Heeba Shah and Gulshan Devaiah. Heeba as the contract killer possesses that stoic and ruthless demeanor perfectly. The mysticism about the character really does generate intrigue in wanting to understand why is the character the way she is. Gulshan, as you all know, is one of the most talented actors we have in the industry today. Playing the role of Nakul, a man absolutely frustrated with how life has transpired for him, personally and professionally, generates empathy as well as concern from the viewers. A character that many people will gravitate towards in many ways, like many others, losing sight of what the purpose of living is as their surroundings thrive and prosper. Gulshan, like most of his filmography, presents a very convincing and layered performance. Beyond the material. The web series on the surface may be about a man deciding to kill himself and how this conclusive decision leads to several elements going disarray, but the web series sheds light on several facets such as the futility of life, the importance of a strong foundation of friends and family, the key difference between clinical depression and situational sadness, and how many individuals are shaped through their experiences in their formative years. Even though it in parts strays away from the interest it generated in the viewers from the perspective of the characters and the premise, it majorly does provide a new take on such complex subjects. The underwhelming aspects, inconsistency and convenience. There are many aspects of the web series that will make you skeptically look at the situations and the convenience with which people get away with it. One gripe that I have with the Indian creators when they are designing thrillers or anything where crime is being committed left, right and center is that there are some staple features, some of which include corrupt cops, merciless killings taking place with little to no effect to them, getting caught, and over a period of time a realization of the severity of the acts due to which the cops come into the picture to become holier than thou. There are so many acts of violence committed, oftentimes in broad daylight with several witnesses on site, but the killer goes scot-free, living life and executing orders very easily in the future. Inconsistencies creep in when you consider a character like Upadhyay, a person so skilled and meticulous in her execution. For her to get an order and mess up so drastically comes across as weirdly inconsistent. Even though the mystery around Heeba's character develops intrigue, her actions often become confusing, transitioning from being borderline psychotic, oddly sadistical, or just a troubled human. It's tough to keep track. Danish SAIT'S character. The one character in the web series that sticks out like a sore thumb is Danish SAIT'S character. A character that I can't speak much about as he comes into the picture as the pandemonium exists, but his personality seemed to me the most half-baked and directionless. Even though the actor is a great comedic performer, I would highly recommend you watch the satirical Kannada film Humble Politician Nagraj. But in this, Danish's odd, cringeworthy and inconsistent accent, bright blue-colored hair and just him being that piece in this confusing puzzle seemed jarringly placed and took away from the otherwise engaging juxtaposition of the spiritual in the real world. The second half. This is the point where the viewers will either love the show or completely get disconnected. Where you felt invested in Nakul's life, his change of heart and belief that there is a reason and purpose to live. In the last 3 episodes, the web series takes a contrasting turn towards the esoteric. This means that it can be understood or in the case connects with a small section of people. As the web series opens up the debate of life, death, immortality, human nature, greed, emotional and physical abuse, mental health and many other things, it often moves towards analogies and imagery that comes back to haunt the characters and poorly written new characters into the picture. This I personally felt took away from what initially invested me. The hilarious back and forths between Maria and Upadhyay and Nakul and Fokatiya. Their personal lives and influences, interests and surroundings due to which they are the way they are. I felt the web series had a lot of potential to be one of its kind, bringing up philosophical topics up in the real world where we are so busy focusing on more or less material forms of validation, but slowly and steadily lost grasp of what made it so special in its initial journey. It is an extremely eccentric web series viewing, which I definitely felt lost its stronghold in its latter half. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Afsos. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.